Yo, YouTube, what's going on? Welcome back to the Jonathan Hassinger channel. I, of course, am your host, John Hassinger. For this out-of-theater reaction to... Oh, bad timing. One battle after another, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Benicio del Toro, Sean Penn. So this movie was nuts. From start to finish, this movie is nuts. And you're understanding it and trying to figure it out and piece it together and predict where it's going all at the same time. And you're rarely correct. It's swerve after swerve, bro. Spoiler alert, I guess, minor spoiler alert. There's not like a lot to spoil technically, but Leo and his, you know what? As this movie is culminating, you know, as it's coming to its end, I'm realizing it's the guy just trying to be a good guy experience. Okay, DiCaprio falls in love with this girl, madly in love, and kind of like picks up where she is when they meet, and she's this like hardcore radical revolutionary terrorist, you know, depending on which side you're on. And so he's kind of like involved in that with her. They're called like the French 75, and there was a couple other revolutionary groups all over the country that they were part of. And eventually it gets too messy, and they get pinched. You know, since they have all these like moles and people on the inside, and you know what's happening before it's going to happen. Somebody, when she gets caught, someone gets to DiCaprio and their daughter, and is like, the kid's a baby, you know, like here's fake identity, like new address, new life, new everything. Like you got to go, and you got to go now. And mom rolls over on, you know, she rats, she's a snitch, and she does it. This movie is there's so many threads in the beginning where you're like, who am I supposed, where is this? Is this going to continue? Sean Penn is being held up in the opening scene by DiCaprio's wife, and she makes him, he kind of lets it know that like he's attracted to her. So she starts like really messing with him. She's like, you know, since you can't get on your feet, no, she's like, get up, but not on your feet, get up. And he does, and it like blows his mind, and he is like obsessed with her. So he's following her, and she's on one of these little revolutionary missions where they're like, you know, wiring bombs into a, you know, office building or something. And he sneaks up behind her, and she's in a bathroom stall, and he comes up, opens the door, and he's got her like trapped, and she's like, what do you want from me? And he's like, I want you to do your worst. So they have this weird, you know, relationship, and behind the scenes, and that daughter may or may not be Sean Penn's. And Sean Penn wants to join this, basically, they're called like the Christmas Adventurers. They're like this KKK, this new age Nazi, you know, white guys in vests and sweater vests with paintings of ducks flying behind them. Dude, the guy from Lost who plays John Locke's dad, Anthony Cooper, he's in it, and he's got a great scene. They kind of trick you with him. He looks kind of like one of those older members of the group who's just kind of like there for important meetings, but he's just, because he's been there so long, he's basically like brain dead. And then towards the end of this scene, he pops up with this, you know, here's what should happen next because of the situation we're in. Like, he had been listening the whole time. He wants to join, and they're like digging into his background, and they're like, hey, through some sort of, it's called like what did they call it? It's like a super background check, but they had like a funny name for it. And it basically like goes into everything. And the DNA, I think they did like a super background check on DiCaprio, his wife, and his daughter. And in that popped up that like the father matches the DNA of this admiral, or Sean Penn's character. So they're like, well, we either get rid of him or he continues to make us look like fools because we don't have any interbreeding. We don't do any, these guys are pure Nazis, like pure Nazis. And so Sean Penn now is on this mission to kill his daughter because she's half black. And remember, I just came out, I'm still trying to remember how they position themselves to, they're like, we have to apprehend DiCaprio, we can kill him, but we need, because he was one of the French 75, and we need to apprehend the girl. So then Sean Penn can take the girl and kill her. And they obviously, it's so cool because there's all these people who you think are either just extras, have small roles, or just kind of background fill-in people, but they are part of this underground railroad, and they keep helping DiCaprio along the way. So it's the to get back to my main point, the male experience, the guy who's just trying to be a good guy. You fall in love with a girl, whatever she's passionate about, you're passionate about it too. And then sometimes it can all explode in your face and you're just trying to keep up with it and run along with it. And there's all these friends of hers that help you out along the way. And sometimes you don't even get there until it's all over, but at least you get there. And I think that's really all that matters in the end. You just need to get there. Dude, there is one of the trippiest car chase scenes I've ever seen in my life. They're in the desert, and it's where the road's going like this, up and down and up and down, and the girl's trying to drive and the sun's in her eyes and it's out and it's in, and the guy who just took out her dad, the guy, he eventually kills Sean Penn. Spoiler warning. Well, at least he thinks he does. And then he's like, oh, that must be his daughter. So he goes after her, and he's trying to catch up with her, and she gets ahead enough to where she knows that there's a couple hills between them, and she slams the brakes right at the hump. So you won't see it until the last second. She slams the brake, puts the car, runs to the side, has this gun that she stole, and the dude smashes into her. Oh, shit. And he's stumbling out, and he's oh. And she says their password, and he's what are you talking about? And he shoots him. And he's oh, and he goes for his gun, and she boom, 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 kills him. And she's ah, screaming, because she's turned into her mother. Again, this is so, it's all one battle after another on small scales or scales that you put in a movie. It's all relative, And eventually, DiCaprio catches up. He sees the guy on the ground. He gets out of the car. He's looking around. He notices, the guy got shot, and he's someone, where's the shoot? And he sees, and he's hey, it's me. And she is who are you? She says the password, and he's yo, it's your dad. It's your. And she's she says the words again, and he's yo, all right. And then he says it. He says what you're supposed to say back, and she's who are you? And he's I'm your dad. And she finally runs down, and they hug, and they get in the car, and they leave, and they drive away. And then you see in the distance a man with half of his face shot off, walking upright, marching. Sean Penn's character somehow survives being shot in the face while driving and just careening into the desert off the road. and he gets surgery. They fix him up, and then he goes back to the Christmas Adventurers Club, the Nazis, and they're like, "All right, you're in." And he's like, "Oh, thank you." He's like, one eye is like just blank, his other eye is like, just damaged. His whole face is just like, his teeth are like constantly shut. He looks like Two-Face basically. And they're like, "Oh, let us show you your new office." So they like bring him to the new office, and it's just a stupid regular office, and he like sits at his desk and puts his feet up, and the guy who like shows him in there is like, "Oh, I forgot to get you your key." And he closes the door and walks away, and Sean Penn is like looking up at the ceiling, and he notices the vent, and gas is coming out of the vent, and he just dies. And these like two guys in hazmat suits come and pick him up. If you've seen One Battle After Another, let me know what you think. If you were on the fence, I really recommend it. It is long, but it's great. It never lulls. You do see where you're like, oh my gosh, they really set the expectation of how long this movie is within the movie, to where you're like, oh man, this is going to be one battle after another. And it's not going to be over quickly. The sun is blinding me. Let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next week. I gotta go.